Hi everybody, welcome to the dungeon. My name is Robin and today is Flameworking Adventures in BoroLand. Some of you have been asking me about this year's boro ornament. And I never really thought I was making a boro ornament every year, but it's actually a great idea. So after months and months and months of stressing out about it, because I only really work in boro during the holidays, but I came down here and I sat around looking at all my stuff and picked up one of these Symax pieces of Symax tubing. And I got a whole bunch of this stuff just laying around. And the idea came to me. So we're going to do a blown drop ornament today with a little extra sparkle. And I hope you all enjoyed this year's boro ornament. And with that said, I hope you're all doing safe and well out there. Thanks so much for joining me, and I'll see you next time in the dungeon. All right, so here is the piece of Symax inside ribbed tubing that I found and was kind of inspired by. And before I get into that, I want to get a little bit of the sparkle, the Lumiere sparkle powder or flakes on my spoon. And I'm using a little bit of the opal black and the Beetlejuice. And I just kind of mix that up just a little bit. Doesn't do much, but I'm going to put that aside and save it for later. Okay, so now with the tubing, what I want to do, I don't want to use this whole bit of tubing here. I want to cut it down a little bit. So what I'm going to do to start out is I'm just going to heat the end up and get it super, super hot and start rolling it down at an angle until it gets very small. There will still be a hole in the bottom, but I just want to get it a nice tight taper so I can punty up to it. I want to make sure there's always a hole on one end or the other of this tubing, or it will implode on itself. It needs to have a hole in it at all times. So there's a little hole in the bottom there. But what I'm going to do real quick is I'm going to turn the flame off and I'm just going to score and break off this other end of the tubing. And then I'll turn my flame on and just give it a little tiny heat. So when I go to blow on this, it's a kind of a softer surface instead of a hard broken surface. It's easier on your lips. Okay, so we're going to turn it around once it cools down. It only takes a few seconds. And then I want to punty up the bottom. And I'm basically trying to plug that hole that I made. And now I am just going to make sure everything is nice and straight as possible. And then I'm going to go in and start to take off just what I need. So I'm going to go into the flame and spend a lot of time just heating and heating until I get to the point where I can kind of pull a point off this end. So lots and lots of heat. And, you know, I don't do boro very often, but I do notice that it's better when you get the glass white hot instead of red hot. Yeah, you know, once it's red hot, keep heating it. And then here I'm just going to take the very end off, and this will be my blank for my ornament. Okay, I'm going to heat this up a little bit, and I need to open it. So I'm going to blow into my flame, and you see I have a little hole there now. This part of the glass is really super thin. So I'm going to be able to heat up a little bit of boro rod and just pull all of that thick kind of tip right off, and it will pull off fairly even. Okay, so now I'm going to heat and try to get my heat as even as possible. So when I go to lift it up with my, what is that? That's my graphite reamer. I'm going to lift up, and now I have a nice opening. It's not perfect, but it works. Okay, so now that everything is cool, you have to wait for it to cool, I'm going to fill my boro tube here with all the sparkles and just kind of let it roll around in there for a second. When it comes to ventilation, you should have good ventilation here, I think. Ventilation is really important. I myself do not have great ventilation. I have some, but it's not like a ventilation hood or anything. So even if you have to wear a mask, mask up. You don't want to be breathing in those flakes. Okay, so now I am going to go ahead and close down one end. And it kind of buckled up on me. Maybe I wasn't holding it properly in the flame, but I got it as close as possible to the end and was able to just barely close it up. All right, now that everything is closed, I'm going to punty up again. And if there's a hole in the bottom, now's the time to, close it up with your punty rod. And at this point, I'm going to give the whole ornament a twist. And it always looks really nice, especially with this Symax tubing. So it's a lot of heat, and I'm only heating up, it's a big bushy flame here, and I'm only heating up what I need to move. So I'm going to get it nice and soft and give it a little bit of a twist. And then here at the bottom, I will go ahead and give it a slight twist in the opposite direction. I could have had a more pinpoint flame here to give it a better twist because it kind of came off a little ugly, but do try to pull this off as evenly to the bottom as possible. And I'm just going to pull that little extra bit off there just to make sure everything is nice and thin. Okay, so now all we have to do is blow this out and put the hook on it. But I'm going to go ahead and heat this up as much as possible. And, this is really, I'm just now getting into blowing boro. I'm so used to just pushing and pulling and twisting it that blowing it out has always been kind of like hard for me. But since I've been doing a lot of shards, it gave me the practice that I needed to blow it out. So I was really happy with how this came out. So I didn't blow it out real big, just enough to where I'm comfortable. And, it's a little off center, I felt, in the transitional area there. So I'm just going to heat that up and hope for the best. Try to just blow it out a little bit more here. And I feel okay there. I'm like, okay, that looks great. I'm done. Move on. And you can see those beautiful sparkles in there. These Lumiere sparkles have no COE, so they work with any type of glass. All right, so now that we're done with the blowing part, I'm going to just put a punty on. I totally put it on off center, but put a punty on that will, it's a temporary punty. And I'm going to heat the top up a little bit more and kind of pull it out to help my shape a little bit more, just a little bit. And that's pretty much it. So once I have that done, I'm going to pop the punty back off and just kind of smooth that area down. And then I will set it aside and wait until the whole bottom part cools down. You want to give it a good 15 minutes. And then when you can touch the bottom, now is the time to put the hook on. So I want to just, okay, there's no hole here because it's so tiny. I don't really need a hole, but if you do need a hole, you can blow one out in the bottom. But I find that when it's this small, you can just work the tip, and I'm just going to add some glass and very slowly draw out a line of glass. And then just kind of pull it off. And then with my tweezers, I'm going to very, very gently bend it into place. And I have changed the tip of my torch. It's much smaller. So I just want to be careful. This was a really nice hook. I was so proud of myself, you guys. All right, so I'm going to use a tip of my boro reamer here, or my graphite reamer, just to round out the hook. Yeah, it looks good. Oh man, I was really happy with this hook. And I'm feeling better about working in boro too. Anyway, there is our 2025 sparkly drop ornament. I hope you all enjoy. Happy holidays. See you next time in the dungeon.